Hello and welcome to a new video on my channel. Today I am creating an art journal page for the Be Crafty January challenge that you can find over on the Be Crafty groups on Facebook. This month it's a mood board challenge which I have set, and you can see a picture of that right at the beginning of the video. I started by creating some crackles using crackle paint to start with, which I brushed on, and then using some crackle paste with a palette knife. I left this to dry for a good couple of hours, and then I decided that I'd like to create even more crackles using the Be Crafty extra large crackle background stamp. I used some archival cobalt blue ink and stamped this onto some it's Dina Wakley's collage paper. I stamped onto the shiny side. I wasn't too worried if it came out perfectly, as I knew I was going to then be tearing it up and just using it as a background. So I could have put some water onto the paper to make it easier to tear, but I wasn't too worried about where it was going to be and what sorts of shapes it was going to be either. I'm using matte medium on the back of the tissue paper and also onto the journal page before I then seal over the top with some more matte medium. I prepared myself a little swatch of different mediums that I had in different shades of blue to give myself an idea of what I'd like to use. I started off by using some chalky finish paint from Americana Decor. This first paint is, I believe, called Serene. I didn't want to fill all my crackles up with the paint, so I added quite a lot of water to my page as well. This blue is called Treasure, and it's a much brighter, sort of slightly more peacock type of blue, and I wanted it to contrast with the much lighter blue from before. I was trying to pour it into where the crackles from the crackle paste and the crackle paint were as well. So I just add a small dot of paint and then lots and lots of water. So after drying that off, I then got out my Dina Wakley scribble sticks and chose all my blue colours. I can try to remember what colours I used, but I think it was something like ocean perhaps, and in a moment I use a darker colour called marine. Also amongst my colours I do believe there is sky and peacock, so it could have been any of those colours. But again, I'm trying to really colour on top of where the crackle paste was to make the colour go into the cracks. So because the scribble sticks are a water soluble medium, you can put them on just like a sort of like a crayon, but it's not a crayon, and then add water to it to activate the colour. Now I am using some blue liquid acrylic ink to add some extra blue to the page. This has got a pearly sheen as well, which I thought went well with the mood board in terms of the ice and the snow. And as it poured down the page, I also thought it had a little bit of a look of the trees that are also in the mood board pictures. Now I wanted to add some of the snowflake elements, so I'm using I think it was vintage coloured chalky finish paint, which is more of a grey, and it's through the Be Crafty Snowflake Inkable number 2. Now to create extra depth with my snowflakes, I'm using the smaller ones on the Be Crafty Dinkable with the treasure paint once again. Now I'm using some of the script from the Doodle Art Snowflake stamp set. It's a script that's got lots of words related to snow and winter, which I thought went well with the theme of the mood board. And I'm using Faded Jeans archival ink for this part. I'm keeping the stamp on my fingers because it was a very textured background and I wasn't worried about having some parts that were faded as well. Now I'm using the 3 small snowflakes from the set with the Mermaid Lagoon archival ink, and again I'm sometimes not re-inking. Now this is from the Circle Easy Frame from Be Crafty, and I'm just using the circle with my Inktense pencil to create some circles. My idea was that it was all looking a bit the same in the background, and I wanted to create some areas that stood out from the rest. So because the Inktense pencils are water soluble, I then was able to pull the colour out with my water brush and leave areas that looked more like light spots within my page. Now I do the first one and I do part of the second one, and then I don't make you sit through the whole of this because it did take me quite a long time, and I added in extra pencil in areas where I wanted a bit more of the colour, like just now, and I had to spend quite a while pulling that colour out to get it just how I wanted. The branches on the mood board I then wanted to incorporate into my journal page, and so this is from the Trees and Branches set. I'm not sure the exact name, but I'm using again the I think it's Faded Jeans archival ink, and at this point I was standing up because again it was getting very textured now on this page, and I wanted to really get a good impression of the branches, which is why you can see a lot of my arm in that part. I then used a white Posca paint pen just to add a little bit of snow or highlight, whichever way you wanted to look at it, along the tops of the branches. I then am attempting to create some splatters, but my pen really did not want to help out with this part. It did make some very fine splatters which you can't see very well on the video, so in the end I decided that it was going to have to be as it was. When I came back the next day to my journal page, I decided that I needed to lighten up or brighten up the spread a bit more. So I'm using some more acrylic ink, and this time I'm using a pearl. So it doesn't give lots and lots of bright white, but what it did do was give a bit of a shine, which I quite liked because it made me think of the glistening of the snow and the glistening of ice. And then to get those splatters that I couldn't get from my paint pen, I used my ink. Now I'm using one of the larger snowflake stamps from the Doodle Art set, and I used my cobalt blue archival, and I actually stamped it a number of times. I'm just showing you twice here. These were then cut out and I coloured them with watercolour paints and stuck a gem in the middle. I've actually layered them up as well. And this is a piece of cambric which I frayed the edges of, and then adding some white thread. I just wanted some texture to my page and to make a really strong focal point to my page. So I'm using glue gel as well to give these snowflakes a little bit of extra dimension. And then finally, I cannot have any project that does not have some kind of sentiment or word attached to it. I couldn't find a big enough sentiment that I wanted, so I decided to just go with imagine, because the mood board made me feel that it was quite a magical sort of scene with the snow and the trees, and with the blues quite dreamy. And so I just stamped the word out once, cut it out, and then added a sort of banner shape to the end before adding it to my page. If you're interested in joining in with the challenge, if you pop on over via the link that you'll find in the description box below to the Be Crafty Groups page over on Facebook, you'll find all the information there. And if you've liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, and I'd love it if you could subscribe as well. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye.